But we definitely share a passion of sports knowledge quiz every single day when there's time.
And the title of the book is We Are Tougher Than the Rest. It's a song from Bruce Springsteen. So it was my soundtrack, We Are Tougher Than the Rest.
Look into the future and bring the best from the history.
Second place is the first loser.
It's funny because we have a really small office together. We can share our thoughts just over the screens.
He's a podcast guy. My best decision in my business career in 46 years was to...
In this Sports and Outdoor Mentors episode, I chat with Rainer and Konstantin, the co-CEOs of Sport Schuster, the iconic multi-brand outdoor sports store located in the heart of Munich. We touch on the amazing 111-year history of Sport Schuster and how Rainer and Konstantin's combined more than 50 years of experience in the sports and outdoor industry helped them navigate many challenging periods, including COVID. Before we get to that, I have one favour to ask. Less than 50% of people watching or listening are subscribed. So please hit the subscribe or follow button and help us reach more people so that they can also benefit from the valuable insights leaders like Rainer and Konstantin share. I hope you enjoy the episode and thanks for your support.
Rainer, Konstantin, we're going to spend most of the next 60 minutes or so talking about obviously your combined more than 30 years experience here at Sport Schuster. But I think before we get there, it would maybe be interesting to understand what was your kind of path or the key moments that led you to a career within the sports and the outdoor industry?
Interesting question, because I was 15 years old, small boy, born in a small town out of Munich. And my idea was to come out of the small village and never been before in Munich. And then I heard about that there are two big sporting goods stores, and I was totally interested in sports. So yeah, I sent my CV to Sport Check and they took me over, and I was totally nervous then to come to Munich 1st of September in 1978. So I'm the 46th year of my career. And I'm still in retail, and it was a wonderful decision because I think it's the best industry. Anyway, that was my point, and still here.
Yeah, my journey is a bit the same, but in some specific moments also different. But we both share a great passion for sport in general. And I remember in my childhood times that I watched every single sport on TV. And like when the Olympics were held, then I was in front of the TV for 2 weeks, and winter and summer. And I used to play field hockey, so a very small sport, team sport. And so that was my dive into the passion of sport, and that is with me like my whole career. So I always wanted to do something with sport. And I grew up in the west of Germany, so pretty far away from the mountains, a good 7-hour drive from the mountains. But I remember that we always came here in the winter to go skiing and to go hiking with my dad. And so I loved being in the mountains from the early days on. And then it always felt like I have to come and live here at some point in my life and do something in the sport and outdoor industry.
Okay. And you studied sports science, right?
Yeah.
So was that already like a conscious thought that that's something that you wanted to professionally go into even at that early age?
Yeah, exactly. So my parents always gave me the ability and the freedom to decide what I really want to do. And I just wanted to do something with sport. I had no idea when I finished school and when I started my study what I can do with the study after I finished. So I studied economics and sport and the combination of it, and I found it really interesting to do like this physical part of the sports science study and also the economic part of it. But the first 1 or 2 years, I didn't really know what to do with it, and I just thought I really would like to work in this industry. And it took me a few years to really step into this retail business. So I was on the side of different advertising agencies before. But I'm pretty happy now that for 11 years I've been working with Schuster, and that I'm in this industry, and I can't see myself somewhere else than in this industry.
Interesting thing is because I had didn't study. I started as a salesperson at Sport Check, so I was not very good at school.
Me too. Exactly the same.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, I started in retail and retail.
Yeah, I started with 15 years to work, and it's still my passion to work and to do hands-on. And I was not very good at school and not so good at sea. By the way, he's a very good sports person in hockey.
Yeah, interesting. And so as you said, you joined Sport Check then from a pretty young age. So I'm interested. You spent what 26 years?
24 years.
24 years.
Yeah. Starting with a salesperson and ending up as one of 3 managing directors.
Okay.
So in 20-year career was quite good. I would say today it's not possible anymore without study and but I made it even at the auto concern that they because Sport Check was at this time a subsidiary. Okay. Auto bought Sport Check with 49% in 1988 when I just turned as a department leader, and then they took over 51% and 100% in 1991. So it was a turning point in my career because before Sport Check, we've been focused, we're family driven, and Klaus Scheck was a second generation and a super person, and it always looking for new things and flew over to the States, come back with ideas, and was skiing in when he told me he was skiing in Aspen and Lake Tahoe. So my world getting more open and Sport Check had the big catalog you might know with 600 pages. It was called the Bible of Sports, and then I started to as a salesperson. Then I came into buying, and then I came in the advertising department. Been for 6 years part of the advertising department, traveling to all the to the photo locations with all the models and doing all the pictures and so on. It was super big. So I learned making catalogs, so retail and catalog at this time. And we've been totally proud to bring new things, because in the 80s, there was no internet. So we have to fly over to the States or to Paris, to Milan to find new things. So we're always looking around what's maybe new. And so this was the point that Sport Check was extremely focused at this time for trends and brands, and was super time. And Klaus Scheck was always the person said, look for new things. The people are coming because they're exclusively here at Sport Check here in Munich. Yeah. So the consumer traveling like you, when you are going for skiing or hiking in the Alps and coming from north of Germany over everywhere, they stop by at Schuster, I think, Schuster and Scheck, because it was at this time it was a little bit kind of a competition, because the focus of the two stores been different, because Schuster was always more in outdoors and in alpine, because Schuster is coming all the way down from the summit, and Scheck was always more general sports, outdoor as well, but more rock climbing, and always more young and fresh, a little bit more rock and roll, I would say.
Okay.
This time.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so from those 24 years and that, kind of path of really doing different roles over different periods and learning different skills, I'm sure it's probably not possible to dilute all those 24 years down to one thing, but are there any key lessons that you would say that you learned during that time that you've been able to bring to Schuster and develop?
I'm a very ambitious person. So okay. I realized maybe I can be a managing director at Sport Check, even when I started as a salesperson. And then I turned to a managing director in November 98. And then I realized very early that I'm not a political person. So, and doing presentations over 2, 3, 4, 5 levels to bring your message or your strategy to Michael Otto. And I realized I'm more hands-on. I'm a retailer and so on. So after 4 years, my contract was ending. And then I realized if I'm be honest to myself, I have to finish the contract, don't postpone it. And then it was the point that after this, I felt better. Even the Sport Check, I love Sport Check, and so I'm totally sad about what's happening at Sport Check at the moment. And but I realized it's a a new part of your life, and I turned 40 this year. Took a 1 year sabbatical, and then Sport Schuster called me because he knew I'm out for 1 year, but I'm on the market, and Sport Schuster had my phone number and out from the telephone book at this time. Yeah, and then I started in April 23, and now 2003.
Yeah.
2003 with Sport Schuster, and it was a turning point personally for me, but I think it was a good starting point for Schuster as well after almost 90 years, and then after I wrote a concept paper because Schuster was this time very old-fashioned. Okay. 5 different houses, not connected, like small islands in one house. So I wrote a concept for Sport Schuster and said, let's do a landmark here in Munich. And always in mind that 2006 is the World Cup. And we want to be fresh and open for the whole world is coming to Germany. And then I thought we do a kind of constructions. But then Sport Schuster with our other landlords decided, let's tear the house down. So I was a little bit nervous because it was, I made a concept, but not, the part was not tearing the house down, do it new. But then I realized, do it maybe once in your life to plan a new sporting goods store in the center of Munich on a white sheet of paper. Yeah. And then we started. Yeah, and did the layout and everything, and because it was everything new and interesting was because Schuster was so strong in Alpine, and on the entrance been always the Alpine assortments, equipment. And I said to Mr. Schuster, I think there could be an idea because you never will go on the Marienplatz in Munich and see a crampon. Let's buy a new crampon ice axe. So let's turn the house and do the idea that the assortments in the house are like the mountain. As higher you come in the store, as higher is the assortment in the store. So we are here in the 5th floor in the rock and ice department, and in the lower areas of the store is urban and active sports, and then outdoor and snow and so on. Here we are in rock and ice. So it worked since almost 20 years, and when it was a hard decision it's always a strongest decision or strategy starts when it hurts. So we took out no fashion anymore, no golf, no team sports, no horseback riding, still no private label. So we are working 100% with Swiss brands. And but we missed the World Cup. Why? We had the coldest winter in 100 years. And then it was so hard to build the house. And so in March 2006, we realized we can make it because we're losing always time with snow and ice. And Mr. Schuster said one of the most important sentences I ever heard in my life. I was totally disappointed when we realized, Mr. Schuster, we missed the World Cup. The opening game, Germany against Costa Rica, there will be a construction here. And then he said, I'm totally disappointed as well. But keep in mind, we don't build a house like this for one World Cup. We build it for the next generation. I was still sad, but it was a super sentence for me. So we are in the 4th generation now, and the 5th generation is already on Earth. Yeah. So looking forward to keep this philosophy and everything. So we are still family. Because it's much more easier to do a concept like this in one store in one city, and don't have 31 stores or 46 stores or 150 stores, because it's always focused on one thing. And it's a full-time job, by the way, together with online and everything.
Well, so it's good that you mentioned online. So that maybe is a somehow transition to Konstantin. So you've spent now 11 years, I think, here. And previous to that, what you already mentioned, a couple of different roles within advertising agencies. So, I mean, and since you've been here, so you actually started out as the assistant, I think, to the CEO, and then you worked in both marketing and obviously e-commerce. So I'm interested, what are the key learnings you took away from either your career before you joined, but also specifically kind of as you've been moving up, that's kind of been those, let's say, key lessons or key learnings that have helped you to really get to where you are today? So, being the joint leader here.
First of all, it's interesting. I forgot the question you asked Rainer before, because he was just talking about the history and about the last 20 years at Schuster. And
I do not either. But
I heard these kind of stories so many times, and I can't get tired of them, because it's just fantastic what the company and Rainer achieved during this period of time with two completely rebuilds of this building here, like pulling it down twice, and in 2005 and in 2017 again, to look into the future. And that's also something that the company always been doing for more than 100 years now, 111 years now this year, that there's always the will to look into the future, to look forward, and that you need to change and have a look outside where the consumers and where the market is, and to shape Schuster, or to make Schuster fit for the future. And that's something that I really admire, and something that I really see in my journey as well. So Rainer said that he has a really high ambition, and that is something we share. So, like, coming from my sport, where I played on the highest level in Germany, field hockey, and I always had the ambition to perform, and I have a very strong passion for curiosity, to a willingness to learn and to get better. And that's something that was in my jobs before Schuster and also at Schuster. So there was a match from like the beginning, when I started in 2013, working for Rainer and for Flori Schuster as assistant to them both. And I started doing the marketing, because there was no marketing department here at Schuster. So it was assistants and marketing. And we shared this passion from the beginning, the ambition to like look forward to really we want to change the status quo of Schuster without losing what Schuster stands for over 100 years, without losing the big things that everyone has in common here, and why the culture of Schuster is so individual, and so there's so much passion about working for Schuster. And that's something the family Schuster really brings into the organization, and people like Rainer and all the other employees here really bring it into the company every single day. And that's something which is really special, and we don't take it for granted.
So for both of you, you've both, the length of the career is longer, or is different, let's say, but you've both somehow started either literally or figuratively on the shop floor and worked your way through several different roles to leading the business. So if you had to really look at yourself and think, how have I been able to do that? Is there anything that stands out? Anything that you're like, okay, you've already talked about ambition, but I'm sure it's more than that, because I think ambition gets you so far, but maybe not all the way. So is there anything else that stands out that you can think of that really helped you take those steps?
I can tell you what's really special about Rainer, first of all, because it's something I really saw, because I don't have it. It's the way of decision making. So in terms of decision making, I'm more a person that really dives into stuff, and I really want to analyze things, and I want to understand things, and I want to listen a lot. And what I realized in my first year here was that Rainer has an amazing ability to, with his gut feeling, to decide like very quickly on his experiences from all his career. So I never saw this before in anyone else, that he decides like very quickly on his gut feeling. And so this is something where we are really different in terms of decision making. So I'm more the type of person that listens, analyzes, and tries to. I try to set up a different ways of how can we manage it. And then when I decide, then I commit, and then I really focus on deliver this and stay to my decision and commit and be accountable on my decision. But it takes some time to decide. And that's something which is really different between us.
I would say I learned more from him than he from me, because it's a super description. But he brought so many things into my business life. I never had, because I'm more out of the stomach, and I'm stomach and brain, and sometimes. But I realized very early, when you are in responsible positions, you have to decide, even if you don't know 100% what's going on. But if you lead a team, you have to decide, because they're looking to you. What happened now? And then we are on the point is, maybe everybody says you have to realize at this point, maybe it's a mistake. But it's a mistake, and then you have to be so open and have the guts to say, it was a mistake, but I made a decision. Let's go left instead of right. And I think it's interesting, because Konstantin brought some things in, and I learned really from him, because I know I'm more a retailer, more hands-on and decision maker, and see the big thing. But Konstantin brought so many analytics and different working skills to me. So I learned a lot, and still I learned extremely. At the moment, we are in a kind of a change process, and we know both we have to do it, but we do it in a little bit different ways. And yeah.
So a good team then.
Yeah, I would say my best decision in my business career in 46 years was to hire him.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah, since 11 years, I think we are a good team, and I realized immediately that he's a very smart guy, and he will make his career, and I will never forget when we sat here in 2020, full lockdown here. We've been every single day in the store, in the office, and store was closed. It was dark here, and only the learners been here and do all the picking from the online business. And then we started to had some good talks, and then we had a talk, maybe what could be the next career step for him. And then we realized could be the next career step to be my partner, because at this time I was alone. Yeah. As Mr. Schuster was on my side, but in the daily business did I. So I had in total 13 direct reports, by far too much. And we know that Mr. Schuster will go and turning 65 in 2021. So I made a decision, let's do it as my co-partner, as a managing director. First time in over 100 years that Schuster has no family managing director. Yeah. So, but I made the proposal to Mr. Schuster, and surprisingly, he said yes.
Surprisingly.
Because I know him quite well, for sure. And so, because he was assistant for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're sitting here.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned there sitting here when it was dark in lockdown. So one of my questions was going to be about, over your combined 30 plus years since you've been with Schuster, what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to deal with, and what you've learned from that? And I guess probably lockdown and COVID is probably up there as one of the most difficult things.
You know how many different lockdown scenarios we had, so you're better in this.
Yeah, 13. But, I mean, the question was to you, but I want to say that when the first information came over from Italy and from friends over Italy, other retailers, and we heard from the situation in Austria, I remember that on Friday the 13th in 2020, we sat down with the management team, and I opened up my laptop and opened up an Excel sheet, and then we said, okay, let's think in scenarios what could possibly happen. And then we went through different scenarios, discussed what can we do as a company, what can we do with the employees, how shall we communicate this. And in the end, everyone was really tired after 2 hours. And then we said, and what could potentially happen, like if we have to close the store? And we said, we can't think of that. That won't happen. And the next Wednesday, we had to close the store. And on Tuesday evening, I remember this because Sport Schuster wrote a letter, and he has an amazing sense for when do I, as the entrepreneur, as the family owner that runs the business, the name that is outside the store on top of the entrance is my name. When do I have to be there for the employees? He's here twice a week, but in this situation, he was there at 8 o'clock, saying goodbye to all the employees, giving them a letter into their hands and telling them, I don't know when we can open again, but we will be there, the company, we will support you when you're at home, and we try to guide and lead through this awful weeks that we have never expected to be. And then it was very interesting because there was no blueprint for this time. I mean, not for everyone in the world, there was no blueprint, but I think we found a really special, our own Schuster way to do it. And it was really tough to lead the company through this first 7 weeks of lockdown. But Rainer just started to, okay, what can we do? How can we communicate? Because the company has more than 50% of the people that work here, they work on the shop floor. They don't have Teams, Microsoft Teams. They don't have a company phone. They don't have an email address. How can you reach them? They're at home. They have to be at home, and maybe they want to know what's going on in the company. So Rainer started writing emails at all employees from Schuster, and we pretty immediately set up like a company Facebook, like a little social media thing that everyone can join from home with an email address or with a phone number. And then he just put these emails with photos from the day, from the empty city center of Munich, from the empty store, from what we were changing here, assortment-wise, who was working, the team from the logistics, they were working every single day because of the online business that was increasing a lot. So he wrote emails every single day, what was happening, just how he felt. And then after these 7 weeks, we printed these emails in a book, and that's like the Schuster lockdown book. Wow. So Rainer now has a book with 100 pages with all his emails and all the photos and with all the amazing song advices and song tips, because we always cycled home, not always together, but sometimes together through the lockdown city when we were here every single day, because we're the only 2 employees maybe that never had COVID, luckily. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And so we were here every single day and cycled home, and he's a big music fan, so he gave all this music tips to the company.
And the title of the book is "We Are Tougher Than the Rest." It's a song from Bruce Springsteen. So it was my soundtrack. We are tougher than the rest, and it was always my philosophy. Yeah. So we survived. We survived 2 world wars, and we survived COVID.
Yeah. To identify so quickly that need and the importance of communication and trying to maintain that community spirit that you must have here as a team, I think is amazing, and such a kind of simple, authentic way to do it like that.
But we had a very tough decision to make during the first lockdown. Our subsidiary, Sport Münzinger, I showed you yesterday, since 1904, in the City Hall of Munich, founded 1889, oldest sporting goods store in Germany. Schuster took it over from the family Münzinger, and we had a football sneaker concept. And we realized, wow, when will be the next stadiums open, and what's going on with football anyway, under pressure. And then we decided in April 2020, I said to Mr. Schuster, let's close Münzinger because we have to save here Schuster. And he another interesting sentence. Hard decision, 1889 founded, but more important for all of us is Schuster because there is my name over the door. And full focus on Schuster. So, and we survived and came stronger than ever out of the crisis. So, yeah, but it was a tough decision. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because we talked about decisions before and that we approach very differently to decision making, but we're exactly the same when it comes to delivering after you decided. But these are decisions that are not very obvious. It's not like a 90-10 decision. It's like 51-49 where you, in the end, where you're pretty much on your own when you have to decide these things. But that's something where we really work closely together because we discuss these things. I mean, in the end, you have to decide, but we had a lot of 51-49 decisions during the last 3 years, and there are more coming up, I'm pretty sure. But it's good to share these thoughts because normally you're completely on your own when you decide these really hard things.
Yeah. I can see the benefit, but also sometimes that could also, having the two of you, bring challenges because, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen, although I'd somehow be surprised, but I guess sometimes you also disagree on topics. Somehow you have different points of view. So when you have that, do you have a kind of process that you work through to come to a conclusion? Are you using Florence Schuster to kind of help you in that point? How do you approach those situations?
I don't think we don't have so many differences in our mindset. So I don't have any topic where we are totally apart. Okay. So I'm not. Maybe you have one.
It's funny because we have a really small office together. We decided to work together in a very small office, so we can share our thoughts just over the screens. And sometimes we close the door and discuss things, especially if like how is the setup or has the setup to be for the future and the transformation of Schuster. And then we discuss these things. And I think the most important thing is we can discuss the things and we can be on, like, we have different opinions on things, different approaches. But when we leave the office and when we talk to the company and when we talk to the employees, then we have one voice. And I think that's really important that we lead with one voice into the company.
You're talking about maybe some kind of transformation. Maybe it's a question for both of you. The industry, I mean, not just our industry, but I would say the broader consumer industry is changing and evolving so fast now. I think with the accelerated digitalization of commerce, and now with AI coming in, how do you kind of plan for and think about, okay, what does that mean for Schuster? How do you adapt? Because, the store itself, the physical store is I'm biased because this is for sure my favorite sporting goods store, at least in Europe, if not the world. But for me, this is an icon. It's a landmark within our industry. Who knows whether, what the future of physical stores will be, or, how do you work through these type of decisions, and what do you see about the future?
We know that we definitely, during the rebuild in 2015, 16, 17, we definitely missed a few things on the digital side that we could have done earlier. We discussed this a lot and we talked about this. So we are pretty aware of the situation that digitalization, e-commerce, that this is definitely a huge part of the future with AI, which is a completely different challenge to the future, definitely. But let's talk about digitalization and e-commerce. We believe that very general sport is like a platform that brings people together, and there's a lot about human connection, and we believe that this human connection, that people, customers, consumers, they want to come to the store, they want to touch and feel the amazing products, the partly very exclusive products where you need a lot of advice, where you need a lot of guidance, where you need someone that has to tell you and give you a certain advice on it, like on avalanche backpacks, for example. They should hopefully rescue or give you your life in a certain situation. And you can buy this online, but we believe that there is definitely also in the future a huge part of human connection in retail. But there's also a new part and a new future for Schuster with digitalization and with e-commerce. And we believe it's something we have to invest in, but in our own way, in our Schuster way, in our way that really works with this family business. We're not public. We don't have money from investors from outside. So we have to find our own way to invest, but on a very own Schuster way. And that's something we're working on every single day, transforming the company more into the future of digitalization, e-commerce, without losing the legacy and the heritage of what are the strengths of Schuster that has been here for more than 111 years. And that's also a transition for Rainer himself, because there's the family is behind us, the family supports us, but it's also the first time that there are two managing directors not from the family. It's the first time that no one from the Schuster family works as a managing director for more than 3 years now. And there's Benedikt Schuster, the fourth generation, coming in 4 or 5 years. So it's also a transition into the next generation of the family. And that's, for us both, it's a really like a privilege to do this. It's an opportunity that doesn't come around all the time. So we know that this is a huge privilege for us both, that we can lead this company into the next generation, but also into a flourishing future with e-commerce. And we don't know how big e-commerce will be in 5 years. We have strategies, we have plans, and we just know that we need a second leg to stand on with e-commerce. And that's what drives us here. But we should never forget the legacy of Schuster and what it brings the company and the employees here to work here and to come here every day.
Especially when during COVID, when we didn't realize or didn't know what's going on with brick and mortar, because we fell down almost in this fiscal year, almost 40%. And we have a 80-20 split. So it was dramatically. So we didn't know are the people coming back into cities and in the stores, and then we decided, let's work on the second foot, because when I went out of Sport Check, we've been at Sport Check 50-50, 50% retail and 50% at this time catalog, starting e-commerce in roughly 2000. So we started with e-commerce at Sport Check in 2000. Blown Deutschmarks out of the window as like hell. But it was a good learning. And so we realized if we don't know what's going on with brick and mortar, we have to bring up e-commerce, because anyway, e-commerce was our only business during the lockdown. And then we started to going step by step, but we said we have to, our strong vision was, let's go 50-50. And in the last 2 years, e-commerce fell down again or slowed down. So we worked on our plan for online, because it makes no sense at the moment, because it's cost so much money. But we are totally convinced about brick and mortar and e-com, but more in a way you have to be a good host here at Schuster in retail, but as well in online, to make appointments here, click and collect and so on. So it's important not always bring the best price on on the internet, because we have no chance anyway. So in this case, and this was for me is always disappointing, because we just talk about products and important products to be safe in the mountains. And if you talk about a rope and you're on the half dome and you don't think about the price of the rope, it must work, or the avalanche backpack and so on. And so it's disappointing that online is always regarding more on price, and we are really addicted about to have a good conversation with the consumer, and hopefully they pay a little bit more, because they say it's worth it to have a good feeling when I go out of the store.
So, Konstantin, you already mentioned a little bit about your, let's say, sports life. So I'm wondering today, what role does kind of sports and the outdoors play in your life, other than obviously professionally?
Looking back to my childhood times, I loved going to the mountains, skiing in the winter, but also hiking with my dad. And that was always like bringing me to the idea of living closer to the mountains. And I love being outdoors. I love being in the mountains, especially skiing, but also in the summer, doing a bit of mountaineering. And I think that you definitely need something next to your job to look after yourself, gain this vitality for the job. And this is something I really get from being outdoors with the family, with my wife and the kids. And that's something that I really need for my life and for the vitality to have a good part next to the intense business.
And Rainer, what about yourself? What role is sports and the outdoors playing in life outside of work?
Very, very important. As I told you, I go every single day by bike at work. It's only twice 12 minutes. It's very important. I was a football player when in a team in the village where I lived, and my start with outdoors came when I come to the Bundeswehr, to the army, because I came to Traunstein. It's near the Alps. Okay. And then I realized, wow, there is a mountain team. So I said, let's try. If I was never on skis this time before, or cross country skis, but I was ambitious again, and so I was for over a year in the winter '82. I was in the mountain team with touring and cross country skiing and biathlon. So this was my starting point to say, okay, I feel quite comfortable in the mountains, and but still I played soccer until 25, and then I had no time because I was very busy at a job, and then I started running because you can do it always alone, and so I started my little running career and did 3 times a marathon in New York, and he's looking forward to do New York in November, because I always said it's a great experience for a person like me. I'm not professional, but it was so I'm still running, so twice a week, and try to come with the kid, to bring the kids the mountains a little bit closer, because I turned very late father. I have Ludwig with 10 years and Greta with 7, and we are every single weekend in the mountains, because we have a small flat there, and go hiking and skiing and so on. So, but it's super important, not wichtig. It's German. Sorry.
But in terms of team sport, there are a lot of similarities to the business. Like you played football, I played hockey, and what I learned what I learned pretty early on when I started playing hockey is being with the team and playing on the pitch. There are a lot of similarities to the business today. So you have certain rules on the pitch you have to stick to as a team, and you need commitment, you need accountability, you need an idea how to play and how to win games, and you need a strategy, and you can fight on the pitch. There's a lot of competition on the pitch, but when you go off the pitch, you shake hands and with your opponents, and you talk in the locker room, and you talk really honestly about what can we do better, and that's a lot that we have at the business as well. So we have to commit. There is a strategy. Not everyone like commits 100%, but we expect everyone to commit in a very high way, and then we want to deliver. We want to perform, and then when things don't go as we expected them, then we have to talk about these things, and then it's like in the locker room then. So we have to talk honestly about it, and that's something we have every day here. So there's a lot that I learned from team sport for my business.
So you both just mentioned that you have families. You're both married, kids, and also we've talked about your sports activities. We know that you're busy here every day. So how do you maintain a good balance between family life and professional life? Do you have any rules or non-negotiable things that you stick to make sure that you find a good balance?
Yes, for sure. As I said, I turned very late as a father. I was single when we do the first construction here at Schuster, so I worked like hell, and worked a lot with Sport Check and so on. So I realized when I got married and have kids, I have to make rules. I bring every single day the kids at school or kindergarten, like today, and want to be at home for dinner. And I try, and I do it mostly, and before it was very often Saturdays in the store. What's super important, by the way, because it's the most important day for retailing. But I realized it's very important as well to be with family on weekends, because you have to spend time with kids, especially in the age of 10 and 7 and earlier. So I'm at home at weekends and on Saturday. So come Friday evening, so family time.
I mean, that's those little things, the morning, dropping the kids off, the evening, the meals, the weekends. They're somehow simple things, but I think it's the simple things that have the biggest impact so much.
I always see the privilege of that we don't have to travel that much. So I live a good 30-minute cycle ride away from the office, from the Schuster store, and I cycle every single day. That's like the time where I am on my own, where I can think about things, and I cycle every morning, every evening. So I have a good 20 kilometers per day cycling, and that's something I need. I need it in the morning with the kids, so I cycle to nursery with the kids and cycle back home after work. And my wife and I, we agreed on that we both want to have our careers. So my wife is a doctor, so she works at hospital, and we both agreed that we want to work and that we want to have also our own career lives, our own business, and we share the work we share like raising the kids together, and that's a challenge. Definitely, it's not easy, as everyone from the audience knows, but it's definitely a challenge because they're very little, 1.5 and 3.5. But at the minute, we're both. I think we found a good solution for the family and also for our own business lives that we can manage this.
Yeah, that must be tough. What type of doctor is your wife? Is it I don't know what you call it, a general practitioner or in hospital?
Yeah, she works in hospital as anesthetist. Okay. So she works in operating center, and so it's tough because she's not she can't answer the phone when something happens. But we really I think we really appreciate, Rainer and I, we really appreciate the flexibility that we have. Like we're both working really hard, but we also have the ability to look after the family and to combine this together. And I know that a lot of people from our industry, that they travel a lot, especially in sales and all over Europe or the world. And that's quite hard, and when you have a family, and so we really appreciate that we live in Munich, and that's definitely a privilege to live so close to the work and with your family.
Yeah. Who are the people that have influenced you the most throughout your career, would you say?
I guess I said it already. First of all, Klaus Scheck. Okay. Yeah, because it was so interesting person, and as I said before, and it was super interesting for me that he was going skiing in the States, or said there is a trade fair in America, in Milano. You're a buyer, you go there. So, we can do it. It costs money. Yeah, do that, because we are sporting goods. It's important is to have the best product, the best trends, and look for them. Bring it over. Make mistakes, and because not always is the brand we brought in a super runner. But at this time, especially in the 90s, we flew over to the States and brought brands like Oakley, Rollerblade, all the American sports. We imported from the States because it wasn't available here. And this was Klaus Scheck is always saying, try it and look for trends, and the people are coming because they're sport check. They're always looking what's new. Yeah. And then for sure, Michael Otto and Matti not so often. And I asked him on the Christmas party, Mr. Otto, how can you manage a company with 55,000 employees, with so many subsidiaries? And can you give me a tip? And he said an interesting sentence: never make a decision for your employee. So not decide for them. He knows it's not I'm not so good in this point, because at the very end I do it by my own, but I always have it in my mind, but it doesn't work always. And it was interesting person, Michael Otto, and always trying things, making pilots, and because Otto Versand was the big catalog, and then he made with the subsidiaries always good tests, and then they did it for Otto. So it was a very nice person, especially when he started in the 80s thinking about sustainability. So was because at this time it was very unusual, and then for sure Sport Schuster. So it's and working for family business here, and always, as Konstantin said, to have the confidence that we can work independently, but if it's get crucial or it's about money and everything, so I knocked on the door from Sport Schuster. I need a second. And he was coming and made decisions, and I would say three persons in this kind. Yeah.
That's quite a list.
That's a list?
That's quite an amazing list of
46 years, by the way.
But wow. Yeah, maybe that's having those influences is maybe somehow part of the success in your career, even though it's I think amazing.
Interesting thing is I worked only for family driven companies, so not in companies or in the stock exchange. So always thinking about, as I always say when we have visits here from the big brands, and always say, keep in mind we think in generations, not in quarters. They're always laughing.
I've never worked for like big company like the Otto group with 55,000 employees. But as I said before, it all started with coaches at my team sport. So that this is a lot what I learned from them, like how to prepare, how to be ready, how to focus, how to like also perform when you have to perform. Like that's something I really learned from team sport, that and that's something I have today, the ability of holding up many balls in your hand and figuring out what to prioritize and getting things done. And that's a lot also the decision making that I learned from my coaches. And I decided when I finished my career, I decided I need something to dive deeper into this leadership thing. So I decided to manage a team, to manage a hockey team. So for 2 years, I managed a hockey team together with someone that won 2 gold medals at the Beijing and London Olympics as the assistant manager, assistant coach. And I learned a lot during these 2 years next to my job here. So in the evenings, I was on the hockey pitch every 3-4 times a week, and games on the weekend. It was a semi-professional team that we lead up to the first league. So I was with 25 hockey players, all age 17 to 35. Some were still at school, some were at university, some already worked, and bringing them together for one goal and the promotion to the next league, like building a setup for the team, I have this idea for the promotion, but also communicate with them, with every single athlete. And that's something I learned during these 2 years a lot, like working with the team on an everyday basis. So that is something that I took to Schuster in my business life. And then, of course, I wouldn't sit here if I haven't got the ability from Flori Schuster and from Rainer to work and to flourish within this company and to make my own experience and to dive into this leadership role. And so he's definitely one of my mentors, as Flori Schuster is as well. And I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So now maybe slightly easier questions. Now, normally I tell people when I ask them that they're not allowed to pick their own brand, but in this case, that's not an issue for you guys. But maybe it gives you another issue, but let's see. So what's your favorite piece of sports or outdoor gear?
That's an easy one because I don't have to take a specific brand because it's my bike.
Okay.
Because I'm on my bike every single day for 1 hour, and that's my favorite piece of sport or outdoor gears. But I also do really love my skis, and but the bike is definitely the number one.
It's good that you had a little bit more time to think about.
Well, and also for you guys, you have so much amazing gear to choose from.
And I don't want to pick a certain brand because there are just so many amazing ones.
For me, it's quite simple. It's my running shoes. Yeah, that's it. So, and I have different brands with running shoes for trail and for road.
And you said you weren't good with the political things of the run. You're so good. Very good political answers. Very good. So, is there any? I don't know if either of you are business book readers or anything like that. Are there any books or any kind of media that you would recommend people that want to kind of have a career within the industry that you've read or watched or listened to that you think could be useful?
He's a podcast guy.
I don't really read that many classic business books. I really like biographies. I do really like books about real people. I recently read Shoe Dog from Phil Knight, and I really like biographies in terms of business books. But I also listen to a lot of podcasts. As I mentioned, I cycle to work, so it's something that I do every single day, listen to podcasts, but also from other industries. I think that's, as I said, curiosity and the willingness to learn is something that really drives me, and I listen and read a lot, also from totally different industries, and I try to find ideas for the business from totally different parts. And it's not only from the sports and outdoor industry. I think you need to look outside the market, and I want to understand how, like, other companies, our other brands attract consumers, and there is the same principles that you can maybe transform into your business, and that's something I do every single day. And that I really love to keep.
So what's your favorite non-industry specific podcast?
I'm preferably German podcasts, so I listen to a lot from the marketing, digital business, like the OMR conferences at the minute in Hamburg. So I listen to these podcasts. I listen to Handelsblatt morning briefing every single morning. That's kind of a routine. So to be informed about political stuff, and Handelsblatt morning briefing. It's just a 7-minute, 8-minute morning briefing about everything, politics, economy. And I have a different, like a set of other podcasts. I really like, for example, the American podcast Acquire, where they talk about companies. In like there's a Nike version, like a 4-hour, 5-hour Nike version from Acquire. That's really interesting. So I do listen to podcasts a lot. Yeah,
I'm more the old school newspaper reader.
Okay.
Süddeutsche Zeitung.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. I love still to read newspaper, because then when I'm through, I'm finished.
Which is a good thing, actually.
Yeah, because
the downside of digital media
you
is it
always
never finishes.
Yeah, okay. And I have not so much time to listen to podcasts. They're super interesting, but what in Netflix there are two not serious. One is a movie, because I'm a sports and a music fan. There one just a new one is how the famous song "We Are the World" came together with all the superstars, Michael Jackson and so on. And there was a story about how this song been recorded, and it was 85, and it was totally influenced by the song at this time is Band Aid and so on. And so I saw it just a couple of weeks ago, and then for sure everybody saw maybe 4 years ago The Last Dance, because I'm a big fan of Michael Jordan, because I was the lucky guy who met him once at a basketball in my office, to Rainer, Michael Jordan. Saw him a couple of times playing. At this time, because I was very often in the States, we brought over the American sports to Sport Check at this time, and I was stand up for the Game 7, Bulls against Utah Jazz and so on, and it was super interesting for me to see the background about, and what I didn't know, and was interesting that Michael Jordan was not winning the championship in the first years, because they lost against the Detroit Pistons, because they've been so strong in defense and tough team, and then 3 years in a row, and then 2-year break for baseball and so on. Then he came back, and once again this repeat, and how important it is because Michael Jordan was at this time by far the best player, but he couldn't win if he had not the best team and the best coach, and this was interesting for me. So that was it.
That's a lovely piece of advice in terms of leadership. The Last Dance was amazing, how Phil Jackson managed this group of individuals. Michael Jordan, the absolute
super
superstar,
egos,
and Dennis Rodman, who just traveled to Las Vegas for 2 days, and so that's a really in terms of business, it was always really interesting.
And how Steve Kerr was maybe not the best player at this time, but a super coach now with Golden State Warriors. And so these are things I follow a lot.
If you could give future leaders of the sports and the outdoor industry 3 pieces of advice, what advice would you give?
My philosophy is, I was a buyer, and still as a managing director, you have to negotiate so many things and be fair to your partner, because the industry is a small industry. And you will meet again. And if you play hardball with your partners, it doesn't work. And maybe it's not always in this contract, in this negotiation, that you don't have the very last point out of it, but will get it back. So it's my opinion, and we'll give it over to our team, and maybe to next leaders and so on. Yeah. My philosophy.
That's definitely something that I learned here in these 11 years, staying humble and being a good partner and living partnerships between Schuster and the industry is something that is really in this company, and that drives this company, the cooperation and the partnerships. But coming back to your question, I would say to add something, it's the desire to not stand still. I think that's something that really drives me, and as I said before, the willingness to learn. These are two things. You said three? Yeah. And it's what we said before about decision making. Be accountable, commit to your decision, and these are the three things.
For retail, very important, because we do everything 365 days a year, and always keep in mind the consumer, and be a good host, and even in retail or in online, because it's we live from the end consumer. They have to come back and feel comfortable here. No, that's important for me.
If today was your last day here at Schuster, what would be your message to your team?
Maybe it's the same as I said before. Be honest and fair to all our partners, because you get it back, and don't stand still is a good one. Yeah. Always, because I always have the philosophy when I was at Sport Check, I had always on my desk one sentence: second place is the first loser. And it's very tough, and I took it away when I came to Schuster, because it's not always easy to be the first place, but always be ambitious and straight on. Don't give up. I would say it's important.
Yeah, to add this, I think it's the passion of the people that work for Schuster for like the last 111 years that should be never forgotten, and they should keep the passion. They should stay hungry. They shouldn't forget the legacy and the history of Schuster, but look into the future and bring the best from the history, and keep the passion. And that's something I would tell them to bring into the future.
Right. Well, Rainer, Konstantin, thank you very much for sharing such amazing insights, and thank you and to the whole team for creating such a... Yeah, I'm trying to think, all interview I've been trying to think of the right word to describe it. I mean, Mecca is almost, I don't know if it's the right word, but just an amazing place to visit within our industry. It's somewhere that, I love to visit, but I always have to come without my wallet, otherwise I think nowadays that's impossible, as my wallet is now my phone. So but thank you very much for everything. It's been a pleasure to meet you both, and good luck for the coming coming Euros first. Let's see from a business point of view and a football point of view.
We have a store at Euro.
Absolutely.
No, thank you very much, Dan. We really appreciate it, and really like your podcast and all the interview partners that you bring in. I think it's a huge thing for the industry that we can get some knowledge and some insights from other companies. So thank you very much.
And we are proud to be. I think we are the first retail in your podcast series. So we are quite proud. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for your support, and see you soon for the next Sports and Outdoor Mentors episode.